Welcome to the Elite Life Podcast with your hosts, Trisha and Kylee. Here, we guide you on a journey of personal and professional transformation, revealing the secrets to success. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, join us as we unlock the doors to the elite world of growth, grit, and grace. So, let's dive in.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Elite Life Podcast. We are super excited that you are here. I'm Kylee.
I'm Trish.
And we are amped for today's episode because we are going to be talking about crafting your vision for a successful 2025.
Yeah, and if you're tuning in for the first time, we are all about helping you live your best life, whether it's your career, your relationships, your fitness, or your finance. We want to give you the tips to set you up for success every day in every way.
Absolutely. And this is a process that we all just went through. I've noticed that as I do this year over year, I get better and better at it. And it's not something that you would think that is like a skill for you to get better at. But my plan this year is so much more detailed, and my tracking is so much more finite than it was last year. So we are going to give you some tips and tricks that can help you make sure that you are really grasping and what your goals are and really breaking those down to manageable chunks to where it's not like,
Yeah, we're going to show you how you can thrive financially, build stronger relationships, get healthier, and really just deepen your personal growth all the way around and give you a roadmap of how to do that, because that's what's really important are those little steps, one step at a time.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's one thing I really, really enjoy about Elite Realty. Well, one of many things about Elite Realty is that when I came in, I noticed that because we've said this before, we started life coaching before, are you okay?
Yeah.
Trisha started life coaching me before I even moved over to Elite Realty. And what I noticed when I got to Elite Realty was you guys really pour into all of the agents on the professional, but also on the personal side. Because one thing that I will tell you from experience and from watching other people is that whatever's going on in your personal life, no matter how much you try to compartmentalize, it will bleed over into your professional area.
For sure.
100%. So let's break it down. So we're going to walk you through the exact process that we went through. And we're going to help you create your dream life story for 2025.
Life story, the whole thing. Let's dive in.
The whole thing. All right. So first things first. If you want to have a successful year, you need to envision it. And this is one thing that I really enjoyed about our first coaching session was you asked me, when we're sitting here a year from now, what do you look like? What are you feeling? What have you accomplished? And by bringing that up, you brought to the forefront of my mind all of the feelings and success and pride that I want to feel at the end of this year. And so I have been holding on to that. So really, truly, if you are thinking about, when you're thinking about your vision for 2025, a lot of you want to start at the beginning, start at the end. Start at the end and really envision what you're feeling, what you wear, what you drive, like all these details that are really going to be the result from all of the planning that you're going to do.
Yeah, because that's the thing. Like, if you can see it and you can feel it, it's easier to achieve because it's like, when I get there, not if I get there, but when I get there, I am going to feel so amazing. Like, this is what my mornings look like. This is what my day feels like. At the end of the day, when I go to lay my head on the pillow, I feel proud of myself and excited for a job well done, And so you really want to go through, like, what does that look and feel like? So like you said, every time you're kind of feeling some sort of way, you can hold on to those feelings and know, hey, it's worth it to keep moving forward because I want to get to Kylee 2.0.
Yeah, absolutely. It was funny when you were saying that. I thought of Blades of Glory when John Heder was like, if you can dream it, you can do it.
Yes!
That's one of my favorite movies. Don't sleep on that one if you guys haven't seen it. So you want to envision it. You want to make sure that you are painting the picture of exactly what you want your day to look like. And I want to talk about the ChatGPT thing.
Go ahead.
Okay, so Trisha found. Where did you even find that?
Nicole sent it to me, actually.
Okay, so
Probably off TikTok.
through the grapevine, Trisha sent this out for everyone who was doing her coaching session, and it literally brought me to tears, which for those of you who know me, that does not happen. And so what you do is you ask ChatGPT, and can we prop it in the note section?
We can.
So you go to ChatGPT and you say, you copy and paste this blurb, and at the end you fill in, what your goals are, what focuses you want to have. Because if you've never done this before, it can be extremely intimidating, or maybe you're feeling kind of floundery of like, I don't even know where to start. So go to ChatGPT. We'll put the prompt in the show notes, and you just copy and paste, fill in your goals, and then it will ask you a series of questions, and how you answer these questions at the end, it is going to give you like your dream life story and an affirmation.
Yeah, so the first prompt says, I want to create my goal and vision for 2025. Please guide me through this process by asking me 10 questions one by one. When I'm done answering the 10th question, please generate my dream life story for 2025, what my 2025 affirmation will be, and then my top 5 goals broken down by. And you can choose your goals, whether they be money, romantic, relationship, career, body, friends, community. And then it'll ask you the 10 questions, and then it'll give you the dream life story, your 2025 affirmation, and your top goals. And then there's a second prompt after that that says, thank you so much. How can I get here? What daily habits do I need to do every day? Then it gives you your daily habits, and then you say, awesome, can you tell me exactly what my day should look like and include a goal tracker?
Yeah.
So it literally gives you every piece. And like, this episode is going to come out after New Year's, but here's the thing. You can do this anytime. Like, you don't need to wait for New Year's. You don't need to wait for a Monday. Do it today and be able to move forward with this very clear-cut plan, because Kylie's saying how much she loved it. Literally every single person that I had do this was like, oh my gosh, I cried. This was amazing.
And not just because we were feeling hormonal.
No. I had one of my male counterparts also did it, and he's like, dude, this is like thousands of dollars worth of coaching right here, just at your
super free on the internet.
Yeah.
It is so amazing. So, up until I started working with Trisha, I was not like into the like affirmations, blah, 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 blah. I was more like
woo woo.
Yeah, I was not woo woo. I was more like Andy with the you suck mirror. You're fat. You're garbage. You're trash.
Go back to Don't Be Trash podcast.
Yeah, go listen to that one. It is amazing and heartbreaking all at the same time. So once you have your vision, and you do this prompt, you will have your affirmation, and that affirmation will keep you aligned with your vision. An affirmation is basically a mantra. It's a phrase that reinforces your mindset and your habits to succeed. And what I did was I printed my dream life story and my affirmation on one page, and I have a clipboard that I live off of because that's just how my brain works. I love it. It just makes me feel great. And so before I start my business every day, I will pray over my business, and then I will read through this just to remind me. Like when I feel like I'm done making phone calls, it's like, just do that one more. Just do that one more, because this is what's at stake. Because Trisha, the other thing you asked me in our session was, okay, now that we know how we feel, what is at stake if we do not make these things happen? And I was having trouble articulating at the time, but really what I realized was that the Kylee at the end of this year and the Kylee at the end of 2024 and the Kylee at the end of 2025, she's living her life. And that's what this is supposed to help you guys do. Like, think about, are you just alive, or are you really truly living?
Yeah, I love that because you want to be living your life from a proactive stance, not a reactive stance. And I would say like literally 95% of humanity lives from a reactive stance. All day long, you're just reacting to what comes. Your kid acts bad, you react to it. A client gets mad, you react to it. You're constantly being reactive. Whereas like how I set my life up with my Google Calendar and things like that, I am proactively planning. So I don't need to think about what I'm doing tomorrow or the next day or the next day. I literally open up my calendar and here's what I'm doing tomorrow. Here's what I'm doing the next day. Like my whole life every day is planned out. Like I already have a plan to move through. So I don't have time to be reactive when something maybe goes off the track or doesn't go the way that I expected.
Just fix it and move on.
You fix it and move on. Like a great example was Wednesday. Like I had so many back-to-back meetings scheduled and it was like things, got off track in one meeting, which put the next meeting at a different time. It's fine. I just readjusted the times on things. I didn't throw anything out. I didn't get upset. I pivoted to, okay, these are still what I got to get done. Now, I ended up being in the office until nearly 10 p.m. and I live an hour away from the office.
Yeah, she texted me and she was like, boo, I am just now leaving.
Yeah. So like I had to pivot and flex, but I still got every single thing done. I still lived in a proactive way. And that is living, right? I could have reacted and gone, wow, well, that meeting went to crap and everything's now off. So forget it. I guess I might as well just go home and call it a day.
Crawl in bed.
Yeah.
Be done.
But what would that have helped? That would have made future Trisha's life even worse. And then the people who I canceled are going to feel like crap. Instead of me canceling on Sophie, I'm like, hey, let's jump on our Zoom at 3:30 instead of 1:30 because we had to readjust. I knew she was at home. That's not a big deal. So you have to make sure, like, when you map this out, and you have these affirmations, like one of the affirmations that we had was, I'm disciplined, focused, and thriving in every area of my life. I embody strength, clarity, and kindness, living with intention and purpose. I am healthy, financially secure, and deeply connected to my loved ones and community. Each day I grow into the best version of myself. And we do these affirmations because when you say this stuff out loud, it makes your brain go to work to make it true.
Science.
We activate our reticular activating system because when we say things out loud, our brain, I always say like our brain is like a warm, comfy blanket. Like it wants what you say to be true because that's comfortable, right?
Yeah.
Lying is uncomfortable. So when you keep saying these things over and over again, even if there's a little doubt in the back of your mind, like my big goal this year is riding a 240-mile coast-to-coast bike ride. Today, I'm not going to lie, like, and I don't even want to say it out loud.
Not coast of America, coast of Michigan.
No, coast of Michigan.
Just to be clear.
Yeah, but like, I'm completely injured from my neck to my shoulder to my opposite hip. So to everybody else in the world, they're like, "What? That's impossible. Like you can't even, like you can barely walk right now. Like how are you going to do that, right?" But I keep writing
heels in the garbage.
I did. I am not wearing heels. But I keep writing. I crushed the 240 coast to coast. I crushed the 240 coast to coast. And like with my Vegas marathon, I kept writing like, I will PR my Vegas marathon. I will PR my Vegas marathon. Now, I had never been able to run a marathon under the time cap that Vegas was. So like me even setting up that marathon was crazy because my marathon before that took me an extra hour. I took an hour longer in the marathon that I ran before Vegas to finish it. So when I ran in Florida, my time was like 6:30. And then when I ran Vegas, I had to be under 6 to finish, or else they'll pick you up and you don't get to finish. So I signed up for this race fully well knowing that it takes me longer than this to finish this length, but I just kept writing it like, I'll PR it, I'll PR it, I'll PR it. And even though I was injured going into it, I'm like, I'll PR it, I'll PR it, I'll PR it. And I did. I PR'd it. I ran it faster than any of the other 5 marathons that I ran, even while being injured, because it's the only thing I said and I talked about and I thought about. And so by making my brain decide, like, this is what we decided.
Happening. This be going down.
Yeah. And it helped me to make it true. Right. So that's why these affirmations are so important in saying it out loud and making it so. Because even if you have some doubts in the back of your mind, if you keep saying it out loud and you keep writing it down and you keep saying it out loud and you keep writing it down, your brain and your body are going to go to work to make that happen.
Awesome. I love that so much. So the next step is we're going to talk about breaking down your top goals for 2025. Usually people pick 5. I like 5. I like 5 and 3. Those are my favorite numbers. What did I pick? I think I picked like 2 or 3. I don't think you have to have 5, but I digress. So let's talk about this. We're going to talk about action steps. So you want to think about what are the top 5 goals that drive you toward your dream life. It's essential to break these down in categories that are going to align with your vision. So like career, health and fitness, finances, relationships, and personal development. I think mine was faith, family, and finances. Yeah, I picked 3. And those are broad enough to where it's like you can cover a lot of ground with those. But we're going to talk about breaking those down into manageable chunks to where you could say, okay, my goal is to make X number of dollars. So that's my finances. In my faith, my goal is to do more family faith stuff, right? And that'll also go with my family. So you can stack those. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that like you picked from 3 buckets, but within those 3 buckets, you have multiple goals. So like yesterday I did a Facebook Live about micro goals. So that's super important. You want to look at your life and go, okay, like grab a piece of paper right now, write down career, health, fitness, finances, relationship, personal development. And then you give yourself a score of 1 to 5 on each of those. Pick your 3 lowest scores and go to work writing goals for those lowest scores so you can raise those up, right? Like if your relationship is a 2 and you want it to be a 5, okay, then we need to set goals in the relationship bucket. If your finances are a 5, those may be set and you can set goals instead in your fitness world because I always say like there's no such thing as life balance. We're always working to get, one that's way up and one that's way down. Okay, let's bring that one that's way down up towards that one that's way up, right? And so we're going to go a little bit lighter in that one that's way up because we can right now because we're crushing it there.
Yeah.
Okay, now we need to shift the focus because if you've been all in on your work 110%,
you have no social life. Your family doesn't know who you are.
Yeah.
You ain't been to church.
Yeah, you haven't been to church. You
haven't gone to the gym.
Yeah, for sure. So you have to look at that like, okay, what is thriving right now and what needs a little bit of extra attention? So we pick our buckets and then we set our goals within those buckets and then we set some micro goals along the way. So going back to my bike run, right? So I'm like, wow, 240 miles coast to coast. I can't sit and like just drudge on that one thing, right? Like that's my ultimate goal for the year. But today I have to get myself pain-free so that I can get on the bike.
So micro goal number 1 is work on pain.
Yeah. And then micro goal number 2 is like, okay, now I can get through a 30-minute class. Okay, now I can get through a 30-minute class and be in the top 50% of finishers. Okay, now I can get through a 30-minute class and be in the top 10% of finishers. Okay, let's move it up to a 45-minute class. Okay, let's move it up to a 60-minute class. Okay, let's move it up to
you're going to be biking literally all day.
Absolutely.
How long do you have to?
I think I get either 10 or 12 hours.
I feel like that's fair.
Yeah, because you have to do it straight through. And I think when I did it was like you have to keep at like 13 miles per hour or something around, or 20 miles per hour. I forget. But you have a fair amount of time during the day. And it's during the summer where it stays like light out most of the time.
It's not dark at 4 p.m.
Yeah. So I think you start at like 6 a.m. and you have till like 9 p.m. Something along those lines.
Nice.
But I have to start with like just getting myself fully out of pain and then just getting on the bike and being able to ride for 30 minutes. And then I'm working myself up into those leaderboards and then longer rides and then leaderboards and the longer rides. And eventually I'll get there, right? But I can't sit there and drudge on because here's the thing, right? Like if somebody does 75 hard and they're like, well, my goal is to lose 25 pounds. Okay, well then every time you step on the scale and that scale went up, you're going to want to quit because your goal is to lose 75 pounds. How about your goal is to just drink the water? Your goal is to just take the picture. Your goal is to just hit those nutrition targets. Those are your micro goals. And if you hit your micro goals, the big goal is going to take care of itself.
Right.
But if you're only focusing on that big goal, then every time those other things aren't going your way, you're going to want to throw in the whole towel. You have to have smaller, achievable, measurable benchmarks that are going to take you to that big goal.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's really what it comes down to, you guys, is just making sure that you are choosing smart goals, right? Things that are, I forget the S now.
Specific,
measurable, attainable. What's the
like
R?
real, like they're not
realistic.
crazy realistic.
Yeah. And then so like Trisha just said,
And time bound.
Yeah. So you can only control the controllables. And like Trisha told me, I had a goal at one point of losing a specific number of weight, and she's like, you don't really have control over that. You have control over your behavior, and you have control over like what you're putting in your mouth and this and that. She's like, and remember, if you're at the gym and you're building muscle weighs more than fat. So at the end of this, you might weigh the same, but your body's going to look different.
Yeah,
right?
body composition changes. Yes. And that's the other thing, like with fitness, initially, the way that you build muscle is you tear a muscle, your body sends water to it to repair it, and it builds it. So when I was fitness coaching, people would be like, oh my gosh, I actually gained weight. I'm quitting this. And I'm like, no, you didn't gain weight. That's water. It's water that's healing the muscle. And then once that muscle is healed, that water will just flush out of your body.
Science.
All
right, let's move on to talking about daily habits. So now that we've defined the vision and goals, we're going to talk about daily habits you need to make all of this happen. So we've looked at our vision cast. We are looking at our big goals. We set our micro goals. So what are the things that we need to do every single day to make those micro goals happen?
Yeah, you have to build out that daily routine, and that's another thing we did in our coaching the other day, right? I said, okay, Kylee, what are your goals? And one of yours was, you said faith and family, and I said, okay, so what in our routine helps us to scaffold up that faith and family goal? Well, we sit and we have reading time, and I said, okay, so could we be reading a devotional together?
Yeah, that was a great idea.
So we decided that to booster that faith and family goal, we're going to get together as a family. We're going to, because you have littles. So with littles, we got to think, okay, how do we engage them? We're going to say something that was our favorite part of the day, right? That's something I always did with my kids. And actually, Angelina will still do it now. Aww. When we're sitting at the dinner table. She'll be like, what was your favorite time of the day? And I'm like, oh gosh, what was my favorite time of the day? But it's helpful because it actually makes you all pause, sit, think, reflect.
Think about the day.
Everybody gets a chance to talk instead of one person just being, head of the thing. And then you can give gratitude to God and pray and then do a little devotional. Now you got your family time, like you said, habit stacking, right? Family time, faith time, gratitude time. We're stacking our daily habits to hit that goal.
Absolutely. And so, it really comes down to one thing that I have learned to pay attention to is my morning. Remember, we were talking about the days that I didn't hit my marks. It was because I went to bed late or I ate late, and so I didn't get the recovery I needed, so I slept late. Having a solid morning routine is so priceless, you guys, and it doesn't have to be this big, long thing. Do you know what my morning routine is? I wake up, I get my cup of coffee, and I get my Bible, and I read my Bible. That is it. I usually wash my face somewhere in there because, but like, it does not have to be, wake up, do this, do that, do this, do that. Like, you can literally, but because I consistently wake up at the same time every day and I do the same thing every day, it makes my brain and my body very happy.
And it's what you're doing, right? You're waking up and you're reading your Bible. So you're starting it on a positive note. One thing I noticed is...
And I'm checking a box off as well.
Yeah. I used to listen to Audible in the morning on the way outside of the office, and sometimes I'm just picking random books. You get, only so much personal development you can do. And right now, if I'm reading a personal development book, I'll often like listen to just like a fun book.
Yeah.
And if it's like a murder mystery, I'm like, I don't want to be like listening to somebody getting murdered at 6, 7 o'clock in the morning on my morning commute, right?
Don't do it.
So when I built out my morning routine for 2025, I'm like, only positive audibles in my ear prior to noon. Because when you start with reading something positive or listening to something positive, that sets a positive tone for your day. And what too many people do is, what do? We pick up our cell phone, and what is it full of? Negative news.
Yep.
So then just because you're drinking your coffee and you're scrolling Facebook, now you have all negativity. California is burning. Things are on fire. Like everything is bad, right?
I will say Riley had a really, really great thing that she added to her morning routine was she's like, I don't look at my phone for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
For 20 minutes after I wake up, I'm not allowed to touch my phone. And I'm like, that is absolutely fabulous. So thank you, Riley. I've been doing the same thing. Like my alarm goes off on my phone. And then I look at it and I'm like, okay, phone down, and I'm doing my thing.
Yeah, super good. Morning routine is everything. It sets the tone for your day. And at the end of the day, you're going to be your habits, your rituals, and routines. You have to have good habits, rituals, and routines. And it can be small stuff. Like last year when I did phase 1 of 75 Hard, I started flossing my teeth every day. Still flossing my teeth every day. I know you guys are sick of hearing about me flossing my teeth, but it's simple things like that are the game changers.
And you need an evening routine as well. Let present you set future you up for success. Like morning me hates yesterday me when yesterday me is lazy and didn't do the coffee because I hate making the coffee in the morning.
Yep, absolutely. In the evening, whether you feel like it or not, empty the dishwasher, have a clean kitchen, drink some tea as opposed to something with caffeine, sit and read as opposed to watching some Netflix show that's going to get you all amped up and give you nightmares. Make sure your morning and evening routines have habits, rituals, and routines that are going to set you up for success.
Yep. And the last piece of the puzzle is accountability and building momentum. And so you want to make sure that if you don't have somebody right now, that you find a person who loves you enough to tell you the truth. We have said that a billion times. I have Trisha. She loves me enough to tell me when I'm screwing something up major royally. And I appreciate that. I love you. So make sure that you have a person who's holding you accountable, have a tracker that you check off at the end of every night that is holding you accountable, so that not only can you see where you are falling short, but you can also see where you're winning and building momentum. And you can look at that on those days where you feel like poop.
Yeah, and if something isn't working, just recalibrate. Don't, they always do that
Don't
thing.
dump the purse.
Yep, don't dump the purse. Don't slash all 4 tires because you got one flat. Like, you can always be pivoting and recalibrating. You're never starting over from nothing because you have the experience and the knowledge you gained from what you did, right? So just pivot. And what did I say? I said, don't delete it, move it on the calendar. We don't delete things, we just move them. We just pivot and flex.
Absolutely. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. We want you all to thrive in 2025. So take these nuggets, implement them. If you have any questions or if you want to just talk things through, just hit us up. Leave a comment with your email or whatever. Let's get in touch. We'd love to hear from you. And before you go, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, share the show, and don't forget, we drop fresh content every Thursday here on The Elite Life.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us today on the Elite Life Podcast with Trisha and Kylee. Don't forget to share this episode with a friend so we can keep delivering you more fantastic insights on grit, grace, and growth. Stay connected with us on Instagram and Facebook, where we'll keep the ideas flowing to help you build a life you love and leave a legacy you can be proud of. Until next time.